Chosen one. The shift just hit the spirit realm like a sonic boom. Can you feel that sudden silence? That air pressure dropping in the room? That is the sound of collective realization. They are finally aware of the one crucial data point they missed. You are not a regular person. And right now, it feels to them like the universe itself ran a psyop on them. Like God tricked them into revealing their own hand before they were ready. Panic is spreading through their networks like malware. They are scrambling, checking their logs, trying to figure out how they miscalculated so severely. Why? Because they are realizing they didn't just attack someone with potential. They attacked someone with root access. You need to understand the operating system these entities run on. The manipulators, the energy vampires, the agents of chaos, they operate entirely within the simulation. To them, life is a performance. It's a game of smoke and mirrors where the goal is to extract as much energy as possible while giving nothing back. To them, everyone is just an avatar. Everyone is just code. They viewed you as an NPC, a non-player character designed to serve their storyline, carry their baggage, and reflect their ego back to them. They assumed you were running the same generic, easily hackable software as the masses. So, when they came for you, when they launched the smear campaigns, the betrayals, the gaslighting, the organized group attacks, they weren't just trying to hurt your feelings. That's too simplistic. They were running a vulnerability scan. They were probing your firewall, looking for weak entry points. They were testing your frequency, expecting to find the same corrupted code they possess inside themselves: insecurity, desperation, a need for external validation, a fear of abandonment. They expected to find a hollow space they could occupy and control. They pushed buttons that would cause a normal person to crash. They put pressure on you that would cause a standard structural frame to buckle. But then, the scam came back. And the results caused a glitch in their matrix. They expected you to fold. They expected you to beg for their approval. They expected you to run the same buggy, reactive script everyone else runs when they get pressed. Instead, they hit something they have perhaps never encountered in their entire lives. They hit solid matter. They hit structural integrity that cannot be compromised by cheap talk, lies, or low vibrational sorcery. They didn't just attack a person, they struck an immovable spiritual object with full force, and now they are looking down at their own shattered hand in total disbelief. This is the source of the panic you are sensing. It's not just regret, it is existential terror. It is the terrifying realization of artificial intelligence suddenly coming face to face with organic intelligence. They are simulations realizing they are standing in front of something real. Something with a soul that predates this physical experience. Something connected directly to the source. Your authenticity is now acting as a mirror, and what they see reflected back is terrifying them. They see their own lack of substance. They see their own artificiality. If you are real, then what does that make them? Your mere existence proves that their entire way of life, the manipulation, the masks, the facade, is a lie. You are the walking, breathing falsification of their reality theory. They thought they were fighting flesh and blood. They realized too late they were fighting frequencies and principalities. They traded blows with a divine being, thinking it was a counterfeit. And now the universe is here to collect the debt on that miscalculation. The test is over. The results are in. You didn't just survive the scan. You proved the legitimacy of your code. The shift has happened. The data is irrefutable. They know exactly what you are. The only question remaining is, do you? If you know you are the glitch they couldn't patch, and you are ready to stand as solid matter in a world of vapor, drop an 11 in the comments right now. Signal to the algorithm of truth that you are awake and you are real. Now, let's analyze the specific nature of the betrayal. Let's look at the transaction they attempted to make. Because usually, when a chosen one is attacked or discarded, it involves a third party. It involves a replacement. The enemy, whether it was a romantic partner, a business associate, or a friend group, made a calculated decision to swap you out. They looked at you, and then they looked at someone else. And in a moment of supreme arrogance and impulse, they decided to trade. They thought the grass was greener. They thought they found an upgrade. They looked at surface-level metrics, money, status, looks, or perhaps just someone who was more compliant, less challenging, less intense than you. But here's where the simulation breaks down. They made a fundamental error in file formats. They traded the source file for a screenshot. You see, you are high fidelity. You are uncompressed, raw, organic data. Dealing with a chosen one requires bandwidth. It requires emotional intelligence. It requires the capacity to handle depth, truth, and accountability. You are heavy. You are real. When you walk into a room, you bring the weight of conviction with you. That weight? It intimidated them. It exhausted them. They didn't have the processor speed to run your program. They wanted something lighter. They wanted something that looked like love but didn't require the sacrifice of love. They wanted something that looked like success but didn't require the integrity of success. So, they went for the easy download. They chose the person who was all surface. They chose the connection that was all filter and no substance. They chose the path of least resistance. And for a moment, during that initial honeymoon phase of their betrayal, they thought they had won. They were strutting around, showing off their new acquisition, thinking they had pulled off the heist of the century. They thought they had replaced a deity with a better model. But time is the ultimate stress test for authenticity. Now that the initial dopamine hit has worn off, they are starting to zoom in. And what happens when you zoom in on a low-resolution image? It gets pixelated. It gets blurry. The illusion falls apart. They are realizing that they are currently in a relationship with a deep fake. The person they left you for? The situation they chose over you? It is a rendering. It is a hollow shell. It mimics the motions of a real connection, but there is no signal behind the eyes. There is no soul in the silence. This is the spiritual concept of the counterfeit. The counterfeit always arrives before the breakthrough to test your discernment. But in this case, the counterfeit arrived to test them, and they failed. They traded a divine being, an earth angel, a manifestation of Mother Nature, a carrier of the spark, for someone who is energetically empty. Think about the absurdity of this trade. It is like selling a diamond mine to buy a bag of rhinestones because the rhinestones were shinier in the moment. It is like leaving the embodiment of loyalty for a professional deceiver. They are now sitting in that new situation, and they are starving. They are starving for substance. They are starving for the realness that you provided effortlessly just by breathing. They try to have a deep conversation with this new energy, and they hit a wall. They try to find emotional safety, and they find a void. They look for that spark, that magic, that divine orchestration that happened when you were around, and it is dead silent. The universe is showing them the difference between organic and artificial. You challenge them to grow. The artificial connection enables their stagnation. You held up a mirror to their soul. The artificial connection just blindly validates their ego. You were the medicine. The artificial connection is just sugar. It tastes sweet for a second, but it is rotting their teeth. And now, the buyer's remorse is setting in. And it is hitting them with the force of a freight train. They are feeling unhinged. You might be feeling their energy reaching out to you in the ether, regret, confusion, longing. They are replaying the tapes. Why did I leave? What was I thinking? This person has nothing on them. They are realizing they bought a subscription to a service that doesn't deliver. And the worst part for them? They burned the bridge to the only person who was actually real. God gave you the power to withstand this betrayal for a reason. It wasn't to punish you, it was to protect you from being dragged down into their artificial world. You were removed from the equation so that the contrast would be undeniable. If you had stayed, they would have never learned the value of realness. They had to lose the gold to realize that paper burns. They chose the deceiver. Let them be deceived. They chose the illusion. Let them live in the fog. You are the standard. You are the benchmark. And now that they have experienced the cheap knockoff version of life, they are painfully, agonizingly aware that there is no substitute for the original. But the simulation didn't stop at just replacing you. No, that would have been too simple. You noticed something else happening during this shift. It wasn't just one person acting strange. It was a sudden, coordinated wave of hostility. Family members started acting out of character. Coworkers started blocking your progress. People in your spiritual community, who preached love and light, suddenly turned cold. Random people seemed to be activated against you. This wasn't random. This was a DDoS attack on your spirit. In the tech world, a DDoS, distributed denial of service, attack is when a network of compromised computers, bots, floods a server with so much garbage traffic that it crashes. The goal is to overwhelm the system so it can no longer function. That is exactly what happened to you spiritually. The Matrix realized that an anomaly, you, was waking up. The system realized that a piece of code, you, was operating outside of the authorized parameters of fear and control. And the system's automated response is to activate the Agent Smith protocol. It mobilized the bot farm. Why did they need a group? Why did they need to gossip, to smear your name, to hold meetings about you, to coordinate their stories? Why did they need to do black magic, send negative intentions, or throw graveyard dirt on your name? Because fake needs consensus. Realness stands alone. A lie requires a network of servers to keep it running. It needs constant validation. It needs an echo chamber. If you are living a lie, and a chosen one walks into the room living the truth, you are in danger. The chosen one's presence threatens to decompile the entire script. So, the hive mind activated. They formed a union against you. These people, who probably don't even like each other, bonded over their shared fear of your light. They found common ground in their hatred of your potential. They looked at your bandwidth, your capacity to love, to create, to endure, and it made their own limitations painfully obvious. They saw you running high-performance software while they were struggling to load their basic operating system. And instead of upgrading themselves, they tried to crash your server. They threw everything they had at you. The smear campaigns? That was just spam data designed to clog your reputation. The black magic and energetic attacks? Those were malware packets sent to corrupt your mental files. The betrayal? That was a phishing scam designed to steal your access keys to the divine. They wanted you depressed. They wanted you anxious. They wanted you to think you were the crazy one. They wanted to lower your frequency until you were vibrating at the same sluggish speed as them. But here's the critical failure in their strategy. Here is the glitch they didn't account for. You do not run on their network. They are operating on the local area network, LAN, of the Matrix, a closed loop of ego, fear, and scarcity. You are hardwired to the cloud. You are connected directly to the mainframe of creation. You have infinite bandwidth. So when they sent the hate, when they sent the spells, when they sent the coordinated chaos, your system didn't crash. It just spun up the cooling fans, processed the data, and kept running. God was in the room during every one of their strategy sessions. Every time they gathered to plot your downfall, the universe was running a background recording software. Not to stop them, but to document the evidence. The Cosmic Court was building a case file. They were letting the ops incriminate themselves. They were letting the bot farm burn out its own CPU trying to hack a firewall that is encrypted by the Most High. And now? Look at the state of their network. They are exhausted. It takes a tremendous amount of energy to maintain a lie. It takes zero energy to tell the truth. They are burning out their motherboards trying to keep the smear campaign alive, while you are recharging effortlessly just by existing. They tried to block your destiny, but they only succeeded in flagging themselves as malicious actors. They tried to make you homeless, and now their own foundations are cracking. They tried to ruin your mental health, and now they are the ones suffering from system errors, anxiety, and paranoia. Why? Because the universe has a mirror protocol. Input equals output. If you send malicious code to a divinely protected server, it bounces back. And because you didn't accept the file, because you stood your ground and refused to integrate their hate, that code had nowhere to go but back to the sender. The bot farm is crashing. The hive mind is fracturing. They are turning on each other now because the only thing that held them together was the mission to destroy you. And since that mission failed, the alliance is dissolving. You survived the mob. You survived the swarm. And in doing so, you proved that one single unit of truth is more powerful than a million units of noise. This brings us to the most critical realization, the one that keeps your enemies awake at night. They thought the pressure would break you. They thought if they applied enough heat, enough stress, and enough weight, you would crumble like everyone else in their artificial world. But they forgot the laws of spiritual physics. Pressure does not break the real. Pressure consolidates it. You were not being destroyed. You were being stress tested. In engineering, before a structure is certified to hold the weight of the world, it must be subjected to extreme loads. It must be pushed to its absolute limit to verify its structural integrity. God didn't allow the attacks because he was absent. He allowed the attacks because he was certifying you. Every battle they sent your way was a compliance test. Every betrayal was a tensile strength test. Every moment of isolation was a compression test. And you know what? You passed. You didn't fold. You didn't crack. You didn't compromise your core code to make the pain stop. Instead, you underwent a process of spiritual densification. Think about carbon. If you leave it alone, it's just coal, brittle, dirty, cheap. But if you bury it under miles of rock and apply crushing pressure and scorching heat, the atoms rearrange themselves. The structure tightens. It becomes a lattice so strong that nothing on earth can scratch it. It becomes a diamond. Your enemies were trying to bury you in dirt, not realizing they were the tectonic plates pressing you into a diamond. You took the garbage data they threw at you, the negativity, the doubt, the slander, and you ran it through your internal alchemical processor. You didn't store the hate, you converted it. You took their ammunition and smelted it down to build your armor. This is the definition of anti-fragility. Most systems break under stress. The chosen one gets better under stress. They sent you poison, you developed an immunity. Now you can walk through toxic environments without a hazmat suit because your blood has adapted. They sent you war, you learned strategy. Now you move with the discipline of a general. You weaponized their hatred. You turned their opposition into your opportunity. And now, you have reached a state of existence that I call the immutable kernel. In computing, an immutable object is something whose state cannot be modified after it is created. It is read-only. No hacker can change it. No virus can corrupt it. It is set in stone. The old you, the one who wanted to please people, the one who negotiated your worth, was soft code. It was editable. People could write their own narratives onto you. The new you? The one who walked out of the fire. You are hard code. They can read your story, but they can no longer edit it. They can talk about you, but they can no longer influence you. They can try to project their fears onto you, but the surface is too smooth, it just slides right off. This is what terrifies them. They are used to people being malleable. They are used to people who have a price, a breaking point, or a need for validation. They look at you and they see a wall. A wall that doesn't care about their opinions. A wall that stands whether they clap or whether they boo. You have proven your structural integrity to the universe. And because you passed the audit, you have been granted the keys to the next level. You are no longer just a participant in the simulation. You are certified infrastructure. You are a pillar. You are a load-bearing wall in God's kingdom. And once you are certified, the testing stops. The war ends. Not because the enemies disappear, but because they become irrelevant. You don't test a bridge after it's been built and open to traffic. You just let it rule the skyline. The alchemization is complete. The dross has been burned away. The impurities of the people-pleaser are gone. What remains is pure essence. Pure power. Pure purpose. You are the diamond that broke the drill. If you have survived the pressure and hardened into something they can no longer scratch. If you are ready to stop apologizing for your strength and start wielding it. Then it is time to make it official. It is time to update your status in the mainframe. Join the order of the code breakers. We are the glitch in their matrix. We are the ones who read the source code while everyone else is just staring at the screen. I want you to leave a specific command in the comments. This is not just a comment, it is a declaration of sovereignty. Write this: the lie is dead. I reclaim my name. I am the heir. Let the algorithm of the universe know that the rightful owner has returned to the estate. And you need to understand the specifics of this manufacturing process. You need to understand why the universe allowed them to drag you through the mud. It wasn't to dirty you. It was to build your immunity to dirt. You were in the cosmic refinery. Crude oil is useless until it is boiled, pressurized, and separated. It has to go through hell to become high-octane rocket fuel. You were raw potential, but you were mixed with the crud of this world, the doubt, the fear of rejection, the need to fit in. The attacks were the fire. The betrayal was the pressure. While they thought they were burying you, you were actually extracting wisdom from their wickedness. You were doing something they cannot comprehend. You were extracting gold from garbage. Think about the alchemy of that. They threw trash at you: lies, gossip, negative energy. A normal person would have smelled like trash. But you processed it. You analyzed it. You stripped it down to its component parts. You took the betrayal and converted it into discernment. You took the abandonment and converted it into solitude. You took the disrespect and converted it into boundaries. You found the diamonds in the dirt. You found the treasure in the trash. You took the worst they had to offer and used it to finance your own spiritual empire. This is why they are losing their minds watching you. They are looking at the inputs and the outputs, and the math doesn't add up for them. They input chaos. You output order. They input poison. You output medicine. They input stones. You output monuments. They are realizing that they cannot hurt you because you have lost the ability to be offended by people you do not respect. The need for approval was the only handle they had on you. It was the only lever they could pull to control your behavior. And when you hardened, when you became that immutable kernel, that handle snapped off. Now, when they reach for you, their hands slip. They can't grip you. They can't guilt trip you. They can't manipulate you. You have become aerodynamic to their drama. It flows right over you without creating drag. This is the state of the sovereign. The sovereign does not ask for permission to exist. The sovereign does not explain their decrees to the peasants. You have moved from defense to dominance not by fighting back, but by simply outgrowing the battlefield. You are no longer in the arena with them. You are in the box seats, watching them fight your ghost. And if you want to support this channel and access the deeper levels of this knowledge, hit the join button or the super thanks. Become a producer of the truth in a world of lies. Flipping upside down. The feeling of total control. So, what is the result of all this? What happens when you survive the stress test and prove your realness? The universe grants you a promotion. And I don't mean a pat on the back. I mean a change in your permissions. We are talking about admin access. Something is happening in the spiritual realm right now that is causing absolute chaos among your enemies. They just discovered your rank. They just found out your position in the cosmic hierarchy, and it is causing a fatal system error in their worldview. See, in the spiritual realm, there are levels. There are security clearances. These aren't earned through money, Instagram followers, or job titles. They are assigned before birth. They are divine appointments. Your enemies operated under a fatal assumption. They looked at your human circumstances. Maybe you were broke, maybe you were heartbroken, maybe you were struggling, and they assumed your spiritual rank was low. They judged the general by his civilian clothes. They thought they could push you around. They thought they could run administrator commands on you. They tried to delete your joy. They tried to ban your progress. They tried to mute your voice. But now, the truth is being revealed. The cosmic system audit is underway. The universe is currently scanning everyone's metadata. And the results are flipping the script. Your enemies are being flagged as malicious users. You are being flagged as system administrator. They are realizing they didn't attack a subordinate. They attacked a superior. They didn't challenge an equal. They challenged someone with root access to the reality they are trying to manipulate. Think about the severity of that mistake. It's like an intern trying to fire the CEO. It's like a private trying to court-martial a general. It's like a user trying to ban the moderator. In the physical world, you might not see the badge yet. But in the spiritual world, the badge is blinding. You are operating with authority they do not have access to. You are backed by forces they cannot call on. When they try to do magic, they are using guest Wi-Fi. It's slow, it's spotty, and it's unsecure. When you pray, you are on a dedicated fiber optic line directly to the throne room. Your connection is encrypted. Theirs is public. Your file is protected. Theirs is corrupt. This is why they are panicking. They are realizing that every time they attacked you, they were actually hacking a government server. They were leaving digital fingerprints on a crime scene that is monitored by the Most High. And now, the ban hammer is coming down. You have enforcers assigned to you. You have angelic firewalls that intercept their malware before it even hits your screen. Every time they tried to curse you, your security system auto-rejected the packet and sent it back to the sender with a return to sender error message. They thought they were fighting you. They didn't know they were fighting an entire IT department of spirits, ancestors, and angels who are on the payroll of God. And that department never loses a case. What is devastating them right now is the realization of how outmatched they always were. They brought their little spells. You brought archangels. They brought their gossip. You brought divine favor. They brought their jealousy. You brought destiny. There was never a universe where they could win this. There was never a timeline where their user-level commands could override your admin-level protections. And now, the reevaluation is breaking them mentally. They are questioning everything. If I was wrong about their rank, what else was I wrong about? If the universe protects them this hard, What is their actual purpose? They are realizing that everything they did was based on false intelligence. They misread the code. And now, their own accounts are being restricted. Their money is draining. Financial restrictions. Their minds are foggy. Processing power reduced. Their connections are failing. Network access denied. They are being shadow banned by life itself. The doors are closing for them because they tried to close doors for you. Meanwhile, your access is expanding. You are unlocking new levels, new opportunities, and new powers that they can't even perceive. You have the developer console open. You are writing the code for your future, while they are stuck trying to figure out why their keyboard stopped working. And now, we arrive at the inevitable conclusion of this program. The return. The person, the group, or the entity that discarded you is currently experiencing a critical system failure. They are looking at their new reality, the deep fake reality they chose, and they are realizing it is incompatible with their soul. They are trying to find a loophole. They are trying to find a backdoor into your life. You might see the notifications pop up. A text message, "I've been thinking about you." A like on a photo. A random appearance at a place they know you frequent. This is them trying to ping your server. They are sending a signal to see if you are still online. To see if you are still hosting the people-pleaser website they used to visit. To see if they can still extract resources from your database. They want you back. But understand this, they don't want you back because they love you. They want you back because they need an upgrade. They see your elevation. They see the high-resolution texture of your new life. They see you glowing with that admin access energy, and they are freezing in the cold vacuum of their own choices. They want to plug back into your power source because their battery is at 0%. But here is the final shift. Here is the new security protocol. You have moved your assets to cold storage. In cybersecurity, an air-gapped computer is one that is physically isolated from unsecured networks. It has no Wi-Fi. It has no Bluetooth. It cannot be hacked because it is not connected to the internet. It is an island of pure security. You have air-gapped your spirit. You have taken your energy, your attention, and your validation off the public grid. You are no longer broadcasting on their frequency. You have become inaccessible to the matrix. The door they walked out of? It locked behind them. And the universe changed the encryption key. They are standing outside, pounding on the glass, trying to get in. They are looking at you like salvation. They are thinking, if I can just get back to them, I'll be stable again. I'll feel real again. But the universe is not handing them the key just because they are uncomfortable. The universe is watching you. It is waiting to see if you will honor your structural integrity. Will you open the airlock and let the virus back in? Or will you keep the quarantine active? You know the answer. You are not the same person they left. The person they manipulated is dead. The person who accepted crumbs is deleted. The person who needed their validation has been overwritten. You are building an empire of realness, and in this empire, there are no guest passes for tourists. There are no visas for traders. While they are stuck in the feedback loop of their own karma, experiencing the very abandonment, confusion, and financial drain they wished on you, you are ascending. You are seeing things differently now. The drama that used to pull you in? It doesn't even register. It's like a pop-up ad that your brain automatically blocks. The people who used to occupy your thoughts? They are just deleted files in the recycling bin. You have ascended past the level where their negativity can reach you. You are moving differently. Your decisions are clearer. Your boundaries are solid walls, not suggestions. And this is the ultimate vindication. The universe is preparing to publicly vindicate you. Everything done to you in secret is about to be exposed in 4K resolution. Every lie told about you is about to be contradicted by the undeniable evidence of your success. Every limitation they tried to place on you is about to be shattered. They are going to have front row seats to your coronation. They are going to watch the universe prove them wrong about you in real time. They thought you were a glitch. They are about to realize you are the patch. You are the upgrade that the world needed. Your vindication is their education. Your elevation is their demonstration. Your breakthrough is their breakdown. Because watching you win, after everything they did to ensure you would lose, is a special kind of torture. It is the torture of realizing they bet against the God-tier player and lost everything. You don't have to do anything to prove it. You don't have to argue. You don't have to post revenge quotes. You just have to exist. Your existence is the proof. Your peace is the weapon. Your joy is the judgment. The game is over. You won. Case closed. You proved you were real in a world of fakes. You stood as solid matter in a universe of smoke. And now, you get to rule the reality you have built. So, disconnect from the drama. Air gap your soul. Secure your estate. And watch as the universe continues to prove that messing with a chosen one is the biggest logic error anyone can make. You are the original. They are just the unauthorized copy. And the copy always fades. And you need to meditate on the physics of that fading process. This is not just poetry, this is spiritual entropy. In information theory, every time you copy a file, every time you compress a signal, and every time you duplicate an image without the master key, you lose data. The quality degrades. The resolution drops. The signal-to-noise ratio gets worse. This is exactly what is happening to them. They are suffering from data rot. Because they cut themselves off from the source, they are now running on a battery that cannot be recharged. They are burning through their reserves of stolen energy, and once that runs out, they will go dark. They are becoming ghost data, files that exist but can no longer be opened. But you are negentropic. You are the only thing in this equation that actually generates energy instead of just consuming it. That is the definition of a creator. That is the definition of a chosen one. You don't need to steal light because you are the socket. You are the generator. This is why their mimicry never works. They can copy your style. They can copy your words. They can copy your business plan. They can even try to copy your walk. But they cannot copy your frequency. They cannot forge your digital signature. The universe uses biometric authentication. It scans the heart, not the mask. When they try to swipe into the doors you opened, the system rejects them because their pulse doesn't match the vibration of truth. Access denied. So, let this be your final instruction. Do not look back at the burning city. Do not be like Lot's wife, who turned into a pillar of salt because she was nostalgic for a place that God was destroying. In your case, do not turn into a pillar of static. If you look back, if you check their pages, if you ask about them, if you wonder if they are sorry, you are reconnecting to a dead network. You are voluntarily lowering your firewall. Keep your eyes forward. The windshield is large, and the rearview mirror is small for a reason. Where you are going, there is no signal for them. Where you are going, the air is too thin for their lungs. You have crossed the event horizon of your own greatness. The gravitational pull of the past no longer applies to you. You are free. You are sovereign. You are real.